Hello, Anthony.
Hello, Claudine.
We have an upcoming FBAR deadline, and it's triggering a lot of questions from our clients.
Well, there's always an FBAR deadline, isn't there?
Yes. All right, so let's start with one of the first questions we're getting a lot of is if I file the FBAR now, it will be my first time ever to report it. I'm afraid that it may raise a red flag and increase my chance of being audited. I feel like it's a bad idea for me to report it now before I start the Streamlined process. So tell me, how is filing it now helping me instead of putting me at risk?
All right, and the question we also get is when people are doing the full offshore disclosure. So what happens is a lot of times we have an FBAR due date that's upcoming, and that's hence the person realizes they need to do something because of the FBAR deadline. And now they're worried, but if I file my FBAR before my disclosure, and really it takes months to get a disclosure done correctly, Streamlines take months to do accurately and correctly, and then the full 8-year OVDP take even longer. So there is going to be a period of time where you have an FBAR filed for 1 year before a disclosure is made.
Okay.
Part of the way we deal with that is we do file a pre-clearance. So there is some sort of protection out there. If we file a pre-clearance even when we're pretty sure we're going streamlined. So that's one way we handle it. And the other thing is we handle it because we sort of know how the IRS operates. But one thing you need to know, okay, and this is sort of how, this ends the conversation, this ends the debate. Right now, you 100% know about the FBAR. You know about the deadline. If you don't file an FBAR now, the IRS could say you willfully didn't file an FBAR. There is no late FBAR filing. There's just non-filing and filing. Non-filing could be a day late. And a day late, if you know about it, could be willful. Now, if you're going to go to the Streamlined program, that 1 year of non-willful technically kicks you out. Now, of course, you could lie. You could lie. But I'm going to tell you, our clients are terrible liars. You need to be, in order to be an effective liar, it helps to be an actual criminal.
Yes.
So most of our clients simply can't. You're not as good as a liar as you might think you are.
Right.
When someone examines you.
Now, we had a gentleman in 2009. He went through the 2009 OVDI by himself.
Right, back when it was the OVDI.
Right. And so what happened with him?
Well, so he he handled this himself. He started to handle it. He learned of the FBAR, learned that he was in noncompliance in May of 2009.
Okay.
He says, oh, look at this. Oh, my God, I'm in noncompliance. Okay, it looks like the IRS is coming out with some sort of program. Because I don't think in May it was fully announced. It was like, okay, I should really do something. I'll get to something. His brother passed, so he's like, okay, let me take care of that. When I get back, I'm going to get on the ball and get this going. So in July, he files his Streamlined disclosure, and it takes years for this thing to go because they just were trying to figure out what to do with him. He decided to opt out of the standard penalty because he's like, well, I found out about it. I disclosed in 2009, well before people are now. So he's one of the first. Well, this is what happens. That he was doing this himself, and he's representing himself, and he says something to say, yeah, they're asking him about his 2008 FBAR, his 2007 FBAR before, like, all right, I guess you didn't know about it, but your 2008, what's the deal with that? In May of 2009, before your 2008 FBAR was due, you knew about the FBAR. Why didn't you file your FBAR in time? He goes, well, I had other things to do. I had to take care of this. I had to take care of that.
Crap.
So they're like, okay, well, that's the evidence we need. You knew about it. You didn't file it.
Sorry, your brother passed away. You're willful.
You're willful. So it was that 1 year. It's like, yeah, but I was just going to disclose a month later. So that's really the thing. If you have no choice.
Yep.
You have to do it. So regardless of red flags or no red flags, you just have to do it because otherwise it can come back and really, really harm you.
Now, another thing we find is that FBARs are not a trigger for an audit.
No, because it doesn't work like that. The IRS doesn't look at FBARs that are filed to say, here's someone, oh, look at this. Here's a first-time FBAR filer. Let's see. Ooh, looks like a big, interesting account. First time filing it. Hey, get on the board. Get this person right now.
Yes.
Right now, let's get under audit. I need him under audit next week. Doesn't work like that at all.
No, the FBAR, now everyone has to file electronically. So, I mean, where does that even go?
Right. And this is what I think, I think the best analogy I have for FBAR processing is the great movie Indiana Jones, the Ark of the Covenant, the first one, the Raiders of the Lost Ark. There we go.
Okay.
So that was a fantastic movie. Indy risked life and limb, and the Germans want it too. This Ark of the Covenant. Everyone's fighting for this Ark. This is the entire thing that everyone's fighting for. And the end of the movie is one of the best endings ever, because many people forget this. But the end of the movie, what happens to the Ark of the Covenant? All this worry, everything, the government takes it and puts it in some warehouse, and they forgot about it somewhere, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of like how the FBARs are, that there is so much concern about the FBARs. You got to do it. You got to do it right. And they make it so complicated to file. They're not simple. There can be simple ones, but very easily they can get difficult when you get questions like, well, was I the beneficial owner, the signatory? Was it a joint ownership? What kind of accounts actually have to get done?
So they finally get it.
And then it just goes into that warehouse somewhere where no one looks at it. And how do I know this is true? Because we'll have a client who's under audit, and they have an FBAR filing requirement. And the auditor will say, hey, can you get us copies of the FBARs you guys filed? And you're thinking like, oh, and I've asked like, just curious, why don't you, wouldn't it be easier for you? And because first of all, we could forge something. I mean, if we were forging a piece of paper is not that hard with modern technology, that would be pretty convincing. Why wouldn't you just get the real thing that's filed there? And the thing is like, well, it's really hard for us to get it. We don't have access to that. So there it is. Auditors are not looking at it.
And there's different databases. IRS and FinCEN they're two totally different departments with two totally different systems.
Right. And FinCEN is, even though FinCEN is administered partially by the IRS, it's still that FinCEN database. It's not the IRS's tax database. So the IRS administers it. I mean, it's pretty confusing, but it is its own separate thing out in Detroit somewhere. And I don't even know now that they're filed electronically. I don't even know if there's anyone in Detroit. It could just be nothing now.
One person sitting in an office.
One person, right.
All right. Another question we get is, what's the disadvantage of filing FBARs altogether for the past 6 years through the Streamlined process in late July or August?
Yeah, well, there you go. You just frustrated your ability to file for the Streamlined.
Got it.
Because you didn't file. And now we're talking about 2015 FBAR, but we know in 2016 FBARs are going to be due when your tax return is due. So we're going to have the similar questions come up when people are going to ask you, well, maybe I should not file my return on time, because when I file my return on time for this year, then my FBAR is going to be due. Maybe I just won't file my return. Now, there's something. Now you really see a big problem, because now your failure to file return penalties are always based on how much you owe. But you didn't file your FBAR and you're a day late. That now triggers that willful exposure that exists, and crazy things happen that shouldn't happen. And you're really, it's a dangerous third rail, these FBARs. So you have to, you don't have a choice, and it's your protection to file it on time. And file it on time, save your copy, because the IRS may ask you for it, right?
Right.
And that is actually what can save you.
Awesome. All right. So bottom line is file your FBAR and file it on time.
Yes.
If you're a day away from the due date and you don't know what to do, don't hesitate to contact us for assistance. info@IRSMedic.com. You can look at IRSMedic.com. You can search our blog for FBAR articles. Lots of great information there. You can also comment and like below. We'll get back to you. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because we have awesome tax updates. Thanks for watching. IRSMedic, the law offices of Parent & Parent, LLP. Real tax attorneys for tough tax problems.